Shy nurse greeted the millionaire's deaf mom with sign language, unaware her son, the CEO, was watching. There are moments in life when a simple act of kindness ripples outward like a stone dropped into still water, touching hearts and changing destinies in ways we never imagined. Sometimes, the smallest gestures, done without expectation of reward or recognition, become the very thing that transforms our entire world. This is a story about one such moment, when compassion met opportunity in the most unexpected way, proving that the truest measure of character is revealed not in what we do when others are watching, but in who we are when we believe no one sees us at all. Emma Rodriguez had always been the type to fade into the background. At 28, she'd perfected the art of being invisible, a skill honed through years of childhood teasing about her thick glasses, her slight stutter, and her preference for books over parties. Even now, working as a nurse at Riverside Medical Center, she moved through the hospital corridors like a gentle ghost, speaking in soft tones, avoiding eye contact, and eating her lunch alone in the corner of the cafeteria while scrolling through her phone. But invisibility, Emma had learned, came with an unexpected gift. People revealed their true selves around her. When you didn't demand attention, you noticed everything, the subtle expressions, the unspoken needs, the quiet desperation that others missed. And Emma noticed Mrs. Harrison the moment the elderly woman was wheeled into the hospital's waiting area that crisp October morning. The older woman sat rigid in her wheelchair, her designer coat and pearl earrings at odds with the confusion etched across her elegant features. Her son, a tall, imposing figure in an expensive suit, was speaking to her, his mouth moving rapidly, frustration evident in the tension of his shoulders. But Mrs. Harrison's eyes darted around anxiously, her hands trembling slightly as they gripped the armrests. The disconnect between them was painful to watch. Emma recognized that look. She'd seen it before, in her own grandmother's eyes during the last year of her life, before Alzheimer's had claimed her completely. It was the look of someone lost, unable to bridge the chasm between themselves and the world around them. Without thinking, Emma approached, her heart hammering against her ribs. Social interaction wasn't her strength, but something deeper than fear propelled her forward. "Excuse me," she said quietly to the man, who turned to her with barely concealed irritation. "I don't mean to intrude, but, is your mother deaf?" The man blinked, his expression shifting from annoyance to surprise. "Yes, she is. We're trying to register her for her appointment, but there's some confusion with the insurance paperwork, and she doesn't understand what's happening. I don't know sign language, I keep meaning to learn, but work has been." He stopped, shaking his head. "Why do you ask?" Emma didn't answer him. Instead, she knelt before Mrs. Harrison, meeting her at eye level, and slowly began to sign. "Hello, my name is Emma. I'm a nurse here. You're safe. We're going to help you today." The transformation was instantaneous. Mrs. Harrison's entire face lit up, her hands flying up to respond. "You can sign. Oh, thank God. I've been so frightened. I don't know what's happening, and my son is upset, and I can't understand anything." Emma smiled, her own nervousness melting away as she continued signing. "Nothing to be frightened of. Your son loves you very much. He's just worried about you. There's some paperwork confusion, but I'll help translate everything. Would that be okay?" Mrs. Harrison nodded vigorously, tears gathering in her eyes as she signed back, "I thought I was invisible. Thank you for seeing me." Emma spent the next 40 minutes helping navigate the registration process, translating between Mrs. Harrison and the administrative staff, explaining each form and procedure in sign language with infinite patience. She never once looked at the son, who had stepped back, watching the entire interaction with an expression Emma couldn't quite read. She was too focused on Mrs. Harrison, on making sure this lovely woman felt heard, understood, and cared for. When Mrs. Harrison was finally called back for her appointment, she took Emma's hand and signed, "You have a beautiful heart. The world needs more people like you." Emma blushed, signing back, "I'm just doing what anyone would do." "No, Mrs. Harrison signed firmly. "Most people wouldn't. Believe me." As Emma helped settle Mrs. Harrison with the intake nurse, she finally turned to leave, and nearly collided with the son, who was still standing there, watching her with an intensity that made her want to disappear into the floor. "I'm sorry," she stammered, her stutter returning in full force. "I hope I didn't overstep. I just saw she was uncomfortable, and I You learned sign language, he interrupted quietly. May I ask why? Emma clutched her clipboard to her chest. My grandmother. She became deaf in her last years. I learned to communicate with her before she passed. I couldn't not help. I know what it feels like to be lost and unheard. The man was silent for a long moment, and Emma felt her cheeks burning. She'd done it again, inserted herself where she didn't belong, made things awkward. She turned to flee. Wait, he called after her. I didn't catch your name. Emma Rodriguez, she said without turning around, hurrying away before he could say anything else. She didn't think about the encounter again. It was just one moment in an endless stream of days, one small kindness in a career built on them. Emma returned to her rounds, to her quiet life, to her comfortable invisibility. 3 weeks later, Emma was called into the hospital director's office. Her stomach dropped. In her experience, unexpected summons never brought good news. She spent the entire walk to the administrative floor mentally reviewing every interaction, every medication administration, trying to figure out what she'd done wrong. The director's face was unreadable as Emma sat down. Emma, do you remember interacting with a Mrs. Catherine Harrison a few weeks ago? Emma's blood ran cold. Yes, ma'am. Did I do something wrong? I know I probably should have asked permission before helping with registration, but she seemed so distressed, and… Emma. The director's stern expression finally cracked into a smile. You're not in trouble. Quite the opposite. Do you know who Mrs. Harrison's son is? Emma shook her head. James Harrison, the CEO of Harrison Industries. One of the largest tech companies in the state, worth approximately $3 billion. Emma felt dizzy. The frustrated man in the expensive suit was a billionaire. The director continued, Mr. Harrison was so moved by your kindness to his mother that he's made a substantial donation to the hospital in your name. But that's not all. He's also created a new position, Director of Patient Communication Services, specifically designed around what he witnessed you do. He wants to hire you to develop and lead a program training staff in sign language and other communication accessibility tools. The salary is… She slid a paper across the desk. Emma stared at the number, certain she was misreading it. It was triple her current salary. There's more, the director said, her smile widening. He wants to fund scholarships for nursing students in your name, and he's personally requesting that you consult on a new accessibility initiative his company is launching. Emma, this is a life-changing opportunity. Emma couldn't speak. Tears streamed down her face as the weight of the moment crashed over her. All her life, she'd felt invisible, insignificant, too shy to matter. And yet one moment of simple human kindness, done without any thought of recognition or reward, had been seen after all. 2 days later, Emma stood in a gleaming conference room at Harrison Industries, still feeling like she'd stumbled into someone else's life. James Harrison entered, his mother beside him in her wheelchair, both beaming. Emma, James said, extending his hand. I want to thank you properly. That day in the hospital, I watched you see my mother, truly see her, when I'd been looking at her all morning without really understanding what she needed. You taught me something profound about leadership, about humanity, about what it means to truly pay attention to people. Mrs. Harrison was signing animatedly, and Emma automatically translated aloud. She says she's been bragging about you to everyone. She says you're proof that the quietest people often have the loudest hearts. James smiled. My mother has always been wiser than me. This new position isn't charity, Emma. It's an investment in the kind of person we need more of in healthcare, someone who sees beyond the surface, who leads with compassion. Will you accept? Emma looked between them, her heart full of an emotion she couldn't quite name. For years, she'd believed her shyness was a weakness, that her quietness made her less than others. But standing here, she finally understood. Her sensitivity, her ability to notice what others missed, her deep capacity for empathy, these weren't flaws. They were her superpowers. Yes, she whispered. Then, louder, with a confidence she'd never felt before, yes, I accept. As Emma left the building that day, she thought about all the times she'd made herself small, invisible, insignificant. She thought about every moment she'd helped someone without expecting recognition, every kindness performed in the shadows. And she realized that nothing done with love is ever truly invisible. Someone is always watching, always noticing, always remembering. The ripples from that single moment of compassion would touch thousands of lives in the years to come, through the programs Emma built, the nurses she trained, the patients who finally felt heard. But perhaps the most important life it changed was Emma's own. She'd spent years believing she needed to be louder, bolder, more outgoing to matter. But the truth was simpler and more beautiful: she just needed to be herself. Because sometimes, the world doesn't need more noise. It needs more people willing to kneel down, make eye contact, and sign to a frightened woman in a wheelchair, "I see you. You matter. You're not alone." And sometimes, that changes everything.